So today we're going to do a run through of LoCoMo's PAX demo that we showed at PAX East a few weeks ago, as well as just go over the current state of the controls. So when you come in here, you probably won't have all these saved worlds, but what you want to do is just hit this PAX demo world. That will bring you into a clean slate with the world that we were demoing and people were playing. Just a few things to note here. There will always be this control helper widget on the bottom left. You can collapse it on the keyboard with tilde if it's in the way, but this is contextual. So as you change to different tools and some of the things you can select in the world, these will change. So just right off the bat, it's telling us WASD will move the camera. We can zoom the camera in and out with mouse wheel, and Q is going to open up our widget menu. So if we hit Q, we can see that. You can either click this X, click anywhere outside, or hit Q again to get rid of it. And we see here that we have some villagers that are walking around. They came out of this house. They have a few buildings they can reach and some they can't. So the first thing we'll do is go over the path placement tool. So I'll press Q again to bring up my widgets. We can see here as you roll over, it tells you what each thing is. So we want path placement. And this is going to be a box draw. So if you click and drag, this will create this green box, which is going to create a temporary placement. These aren't actually walking path yet until, as we see down here, if we press E, that will confirm it into the world. And then we can also press C to change the type. This is just an aesthetic change for right now, but pressing E again will put some dirt path into the world. So now that they can reach these buildings, you'll see them start to make their way over to them, and we'll give them a few more buildings that they can access. So Q again to bring up the widgets, buildings, and we're going to select our generic market here. Once you're at this point, you can mouse around. You'll see the red X's. That's anywhere you can't put it because it's overlapping. You'll see that on a track and on trees. If we just click, that'll place it. Now we can't place another one there. R will rotate the building, and if you hold shift and mouse wheel, that will change the color. So we can put a few different ones of these all around. We could also add some more walking path, confirm that with E, and hit Q to bring our buildings back up. We can put a few more things down here. You can either overlap that little front walking path in front of the building or place it out, and we'll place the path. So we can place it like this, and that will get it to line up right there. You can also press X at any time to clear out your current selection, or if you bring up the menu and then close it again, that'll clear it out. Next, we'll go into our buildings again and add a house. You can also rotate this with R and change the color by holding shift and mouse wheel. And when we place a house, this is actually going to bring more villagers into the world. So you could place houses all over or just a few of them. And you'll see that once the house is there for a few seconds, these villagers will come out and start making their way around. So next we're going to go over our tree tool. If I bring up my menu again and press plants, and you see we have an array of flowers and trees here. I'm going to select this big pine. So the way the tree tool works is similar to Microsoft Paint, the airbrush tool. So if I click, it's going to fill that circle in. If I right click, it's going to delete what's in that circle. I can increase the size of the circle by holding shift and scrolling up and down. And I can click inside there. That'll fill that up. And then right click will change that. I can also click and drag to draw trees onto the world, and subsequently do the same while holding right click to delete. The blue bar on the side is our density, so if you hold Alt and mouse wheel, that'll change the fill rate for that circle, as well as if we had a full area and we did right clicks, that will change the rate at which it deletes from. The little dice looking icon is to show whether we're either in scattered mode as we are now, which gives a natural placement, or if we press F like the tooltips show below, that will change it into fixed. And this will make less natural but more like a field placement. And if I hold control and cycle through some of the other plants we have available, if I do something like the flowers, maybe drop this down a little bit, we can get an idea of a more natural play, or excuse me, you know, a more snap to grid. And if we take the circle all the way down with shift and mouse wheel, and you can also come back in here and select specific things. You know, you can place one at a time if you're looking to get a very particular, you know, sort of placement. So with that, we'll add some trains. So if I go into my tools and go to building, we're going to pick this as our train stop. You'll notice that the train stop has a piece of track on one side and a walking path on the other. That's so we can overlap and just place like so. And if we scroll over to the other side, we have an empty village here. We're going to place a passenger stop over here as well. Again, just click. We'll draw a little walking path in here for that to be connected, E to confirm. So once they're off of there, they'll be able to reach. And then we're going to bring up our tools, go to track placement. We have two options, a bridge track and the simple track. We're going to do the simple track first. What you want to do here is click right on top and drag over. And you want to land right on top of here. If you go too low, you'll see it won't allow you to place there. It's also not allowing us to place over the existing trees. And if we go too high, which I'll do here as an example and let go, we can see that these track pieces actually aren't connected. So if I zoom in here, all you have to do is click and drag, and that'll connect them. As we see on the tooltip, T is going to spawn a train. Now right now, for demo purposes, even if you don't complete this loop, we'll still spawn the train in. But what we can do then is bring our tools back up, go to track placement. This time we're going to do our bridge. So our bridge works similarly. We're going to want to click and drag. We can rotate it with R, just like the buildings. And we get into the orientation we want. So we can either start on this side and drag over to here or vice versa. So I'll do that now. I just click and drag. And that'll connect those. You can see too when you place a bridge down, if you try and go backwards, it'll tell you that you're doing something that isn't possible. Bridges can't be placed directly on top of either buildings or walking paths. They can be placed over walking paths as well as over trees, as we see here, but they cannot be placed over top of buildings. So now that that passenger stop is set up, we should see this train will make its way over to this village, which we can, we'll give it another house just so that there's a few more people in the world. And we'll see some people get off at the train stop that had gotten on over here. So at this point, you have the basics of all the tools. One more thing, we have a delete tool. As I showed before, the tree tool can delete trees. The track tool can actually delete tracks. So if we right click and drag, that will delete the track. The train doesn't care about track being deleted wherever it's not. It will just handle it. And, you know, for instance, if we just deleted track right in front of it, it's going to loop over to the section that it was connected to, or is the other end of it. We can always add another train with T, or if you added too many trains, you know, if somebody hit the button a bunch of times, you can always just press G to get rid of the last added train on your track. The only other option, as I was mentioning, is the delete tool. If we bring up our tools and delete, that will actually delete anything. So if you select trees and then hit E to confirm, just like our path placement, it'll get rid of them. We could delete buildings if we wanted to. That's a left click and drag. A right click and drag will deselect those. Excuse me. So you can delete pathways, buildings, train tracks. You know, if we just do this, it's not really concerned about what it is you're deleting. It'll just delete it anyway. If at any point you're trying to select this track again so that you can add more trains, if you press X to clear your current selection or go to the menu and out of it, and then tap on the track itself, you'll see down here a little pop-up shows the track ID and the train count. Once you've done that, then you're able to press T and add more trains, or G to get rid of them. The only other option we have right now is the boat dock, which is just an aesthetic thing. We don't have boats implemented yet, but you can place a boat dock, you know, anywhere you want, and connect that up. And if we connect this here, then they would start making their way down towards that now that they realize that there's another building they can reach. Also, if at any point you just have a controller plugged in prior to starting the game, that controller will work, or should work. It's tested so far with Xbox controllers. Anything that's kind of equivalent, like a PlayStation controller or Switch controller plugged in your PC, should work as well, but I can't guarantee that. With the Xbox controller, if we just move the left stick, you'll see that our tools down here switched, and if I switch back to mouse, it switches again. So this is always context dependent. If you're moving the controller, these controls are going to be for the controller. If you move the mouse, that'll switch it over to the mouse and keyboard controls. So just like we did before, I'll give a quick run through here. So I'm using the controller now. We can collapse those controls with left stick click if they're too large and in the way. Left bumper and right bumper zoom in and out. Y is going to open our widgets. So if we go through here and just do a few things like we did before, I can press Y. You're going to want to use the analog stick to select these items and not just tap against, because it'll, as you can see there, move a little bit off. But you'll want to hold against the direction. So if I do that and I select a walking path, I hold A and just drag. I can then do B if I want to get rid of it. X to confirm. If we bring up our buildings, right trigger will spin those buildings around. Left trigger will cycle through the different building types we have. Left and right, or right on the D-pad will change the color of that. Place another one there. And then for our tree tool, this is probably the most, at first, a little complex. Left and right on the D-pad will change the size of the circle, and up and down on the D-pad will change the density. If we hold this and move it around. X will change, switching between that snap to grid or a more natural placement. And if we press left trigger, that will cycle through the different types that we have. And then we can also make trains with the controller. So if I go to the track tool, we'll make a new little track over here. Same deal, we're going to click and drag. It's just we're going to hold A, drag over. One thing to note is that it can be a little finicky just to get right on top of this. If you press X, that will snap you to the last piece of track you're on, and pressing X again will take you to the other side of that track, so you can press X to go back and forth. That's just an easy way to get yourself back on. If you were drawing, got yourself a little off, tap X, it'll always take you to the closest one. So if we make a building over here, we'll put a train stop here, give ourselves a little bit there, and we'll make another train stop over here, connect that, and same thing, we can do a bridge here too if we'd like. So we'll rotate this. Maybe we want to put some flowers underneath our bridge here, and then we'll connect this train up like so. Connect that there, and then right on the D-pad we'll add trains in, left on the D-pad we'll get rid of them. And just like with the mouse, the remove tool, this is a drag. I'm holding down the A button and moving the left stick, and you can delete things as well. This is our second smallest map. It's 512 tiles wide by 256 tiles tall. This is 1/16 the size of our largest map. So our largest map will be a 4x4 of these, so quite large. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for checking out LoCoMo.